The winter air was sharp in Helsinki, biting against the skin like tiny needles. Snowflakes drifted lazily through the sky, settling upon the roofs and streets until the city seemed dressed in white silence. Eero walked slowly along the frozen pavement, his breath clouding in the cold air. His school bag felt heavy, though the books inside weighed less than the thoughts pressing down on him. At 16, Eero had become used to the demands placed upon him. His father, a man of stern discipline, believed in excellence above all else. His mother, quiet but unyielding, echoed the same values. For them, their son's worth was measured in grades, achievements, and future prospects. Joy and laughter were not seen as necessities, but as distractions. That evening, the family dinner was silent except for the clink of cutlery against porcelain. The warm smell of salmon soup filled the kitchen, yet it did not ease the tension in the air. Eero dared to mention that his literature teacher had praised his latest essay. His father's response was swift and sharp. "Essays are words on paper. Numbers will feed you. Focus on mathematics," he said without lifting his gaze. Eero lowered his eyes to his plate. The warmth of the soup seemed to vanish in his mouth. His mother gave no comfort, reminding him instead of the science examination scheduled for the following week. Later, alone in his small room beneath the slanted roof, Eero opened the curtains. Outside, the city glowed beneath layers of snow, trams sliding silently across the frozen streets. Somewhere far beyond the rooftops, the northern sky shimmered faintly with green light, a pale aurora dancing like a secret the world refused to share. He whispered into the cold air, "Do they value me, or only what I can achieve?" His voice dissolved into the silence. The aurora flickered faintly, as though answering in a language only the night could understand. The next morning, Eero trudged through the icy streets towards his school. His breath rose in small white clouds, disappearing quickly into the frigid air. The building loomed ahead, its tall windows reflecting the pale light of winter. Students gathered in clusters, their laughter echoing across the courtyard. Eero felt as though he was moving through a world that did not belong to him. In class, he excelled as always. Answers flowed from him easily, precise and controlled. Teachers nodded with approval, but classmates exchanged looks of quiet irritation. Some admired his intelligence, but most kept their distance. He was the boy who never slipped, never faltered, the one who seemed untouchable yet unreachable. During a break, a group spoke excitedly about an upcoming music festival in the city. One girl, Aino, turned to Eero with a hopeful smile. "You should come with us. It will be fun," she said gently. For a fleeting moment, Eero felt seen. Yet the thought of asking his parents filled him with dread. He shook his head quickly. "I cannot. I have to study," he murmured. Aino's smile faded, though she said nothing more. The group turned back to their laughter, leaving Eero standing alone. He walked away, his shoes crunching in the snow, each step heavier than the last. That evening, as he looked out at the city from his attic window, the sound of distant laughter drifted through the air. Eero pressed his forehead against the cold glass, longing for a life he could not reach. At dinner that week, the silence returned, broken only by the clock's steady ticking. Eero gathered courage to speak. "I was thinking," he began softly, "I might try painting again." His father looked up slowly, his eyes narrowing. "Painting is a waste of time. The world does not reward dreamers." His mother added quietly, "Your father is right. Focus on what matters." Eero swallowed hard, pushing his food around his plate. But later, in the privacy of his room, he reached beneath his bed and pulled out a small sketchbook. Its pages had been blank for years. By candlelight, he began to draw once more. The pencil trembled in his hand, but soon lines took shape. He sketched the frozen river, the heavy clouds, the faint aurora that haunted the night sky. Each mark eased the weight pressing down on him. For the first time in weeks, he felt alive. And yet, fear shadowed him. If his parents discovered the sketchbook, they would see it not as hope, but as rebellion. One evening, Eero wandered through Esplanade Park. The trees were bare, their branches etched against the gray sky like fragile bones. Snow crunched beneath his boots as he walked towards the frozen fountain. There on a bench he saw Aino. She sat with a notebook, her pencil moving quickly across the page. When she noticed him, her face lit with a small smile. "Aero," she said softly. "I thought I might see you here." He hesitated but joined her. She showed him her notebook, filled with sketches of people, trees, and fragments of the city. They were not perfect, but they were alive. "I draw to feel free," she said. "Do you?" Aero looked down, unsure. Then, quietly, he admitted, "I used to. I still do, but no one knows." For the first time, he spoke of his hidden sketchbook. Aino listened without judgment. She only said, "Then do not stop. Even if no one else understands, you must keep that part of yourself alive." Her words struck deep. For the first time, Aero felt someone truly saw him. Weeks passed, and Aero continued his double life. By day, he fulfilled his parents' expectations, his nose buried in textbooks. By night, he painted in secret. He saved small coins from his lunch money and visited a modest shop tucked away in a narrow street. There, he bought a small set of watercolors. That night, with trembling hands, he dipped his brush into the paint and let the colors flow. On the paper emerged the frozen streets of Helsinki, glowing softly under lantern light. The scene felt more real than anything else in his life. When he finished, his heart pounded with fear. He hid the painting beneath a loose floorboard, praying his parents would never find it. But he also felt pride, a quiet defiance burning inside him. The cracks in the prison of his life had begun to form. The storm came without warning. One evening, his father entered the room unannounced. On the desk lay Aero's sketchbook, open to a half-finished painting of the aurora. His father froze, his expression hardening. He picked up the sketchbook and flipped through its pages. Each image seemed to darken his face further. "This is foolishness," he declared. "You will throw this away. Tomorrow, it will all be gone." Aero's throat tightened, but he forced himself to whisper, "It is not foolishness. It is mine." For a moment, silence hung heavy. His father placed the sketchbook back down with force, his voice sharp as ice. "If you continue this nonsense, you will ruin everything." That night, Aero lay awake, his heart racing. His father's words echoed in his mind, but so did Aino's. "Do not stop. Keep that part of yourself alive." The storm had broken. There was no turning back. Determined not to lose his freedom, Aero kept painting in the shadows. He hid his work more carefully, slipping it between the floorboards. One afternoon, Aino invited him to a small cafe where young artists gathered. Its walls were covered with paintings, its air filled with music and laughter. Aero's heart ached as he looked around. Each piece of art spoke with a voice that was free. "One day, your work will be here too," Aino said with quiet certainty. The thought both thrilled and terrified him. He imagined the rage of his parents if they ever discovered it. Yet for the first time, he allowed himself to dream. The winter exams arrived, and with them came unbearable pressure. Aero studied late into the night, his father watching closely. Numbers and formulas blurred before his eyes, while colors and shapes danced in his thoughts. When the results came, they were excellent but not perfect. His father's disappointment was clear. "You are slipping," he said coldly. "You must not waste your potential." Something in Aero broke. Years of silence, of being measured by achievements, erupted in a single moment. "I am not your project," he said, his voice shaking. "I am not your investment. I am your son." The room froze. His father's face darkened, his mother gasped. But Aero did not wait. He grabbed a sketchbook and stormed out into the freezing night. Snow fell gently as Aero wandered the streets, his breath steaming in the bitter cold. He held his sketchbook close, as though it were his very heart. At last, he found himself by the frozen Tilanladi Bay. The northern lights shimmered above, green and gold weaving across the black sky. Aero sat upon a bench and opened his sketchbook. His fingers moved quickly, capturing the sky in strokes of color and light. Passers-by slowed to watch. Some smiled, others whispered. For the first time, Aero felt his art was not hidden. It was alive, and others could see it. Ano appeared through the snow, her cheeks red from the cold. She had been searching for him. When she saw him beneath the aurora, surrounded by curious onlookers, she smiled. "This is who you are," she whispered. Morning crept over Helsinki, turning the snow a soft shade of gold. Aero sat by the bay, his sketchbook resting upon his lap. He had not returned home, and for the first time, he did not feel afraid. The choice was clear. He could go back, surrendering once more to his parents' demands. Or he could step forward into the unknown, carrying nothing but his art and the courage to be himself. He rose slowly, his eyes fixed on the horizon. The city towers glowed in the dawn, the air filled with a silence that no longer felt oppressive, but full of possibility. Aero pressed the sketchbook to his chest. His life was not a score, nor a report, nor a future designed by others. His life was his own. And with steady steps, he walked into the morning light, ready to live it.